3 messages before today's interview educates and motivates you. First, if you're a domain name investor, don't you have unique legal needs that require domain name technical know-how and industry experience? That's why you need David Westlow of Wiley Ryan. Go search for David Westlow on Domain Sherpa, watch his interview, and you can see for yourself that he can clearly explain issues, can help you with buy-sell agreements, deal with website content issues and UDRP actions, and even help you write your website terms and conditions. David Westlow is the lawyer to call for internet legal issues. See for yourself at newmediaip.com. Second, managing multiple domain name marketplace and auction site accounts is a pain. Inevitably, you forget to sign into one and you lose a great domain, or worse. Now imagine using a single, simple to use and comprehensive control panel to manage all of your accounts. That's Protrata. You can set up search filters, analyze domains, automate bidding, list domain names for sale, buy domains across all major marketplaces. Protrata also has a new semantic engine that builds Google-friendly websites with rich content and network feeds. Sign up at protrata.com to get 20 free credits and start building and monetizing your domains today. Finally, if you have questions about domain names, where should you go to ask them? The answer is dnforum.com. Not only is DN Forum the largest domain name forum in the world, it's the best. You can learn about domain names and the industry, buy and sell domain names, talk about the domain name news that's happening in the industry, and even meet domainers just like yourself. Register for a free DN Forum account and begin advancing your skills and knowledge today. And when you do sign up, send me a friend request so we can connect on DN Forum. Here's your program. Hey everyone, my name is Michael Seiger and I'm the publisher of DomainSherpa.com, the website where you come to learn the secrets of the domain name industry directly from the experts. I met today's guests in person a few weeks ago when I was down in Los Angeles visiting family. We had a fantastic lunch and conversation. He's a pioneer in the domain name industry, running one of the first domain name monetization platforms. I invited him here to talk about how he built his companies, how he finds new opportunities to focus on, and how he stays focused on each of those businesses to make them successful. Ammar Kubba is the CEO of Thought Convergence, a service provider that has changed the way domain investors monetize, how individuals buy and sell, and how businesses research domain names on the internet. Ammar, welcome and thanks for coming here to tell your story.
Thank you, Michael. Great to be here.
Ammar, let's start with a little background on you. And I'm laughing because this is actually the third time that we've tried to go with this question. I've spliced out a couple of edits because my Skype crashed, your picture froze. Hopefully this time we're going to get it down. People want to know right off the start, Ammar, how many domains you personally own. Not your business domain portfolio, but your personal domains. How many do you own and what TLDs are they generally in?
I actually, this one, as I said the last 2 times, this is one of my big regrets is that I didn't buy more domain names earlier when I could have. I was too busy paying off student loans, but I've probably now own about 2,000 domain names. I would say primarily .com, but as people that see me on auctions know, I have an affinity for premium generics and other TLDs as well. So I have some really great .nets, a few .orgs, and a few .me's actually that I bought that I've invested in with other people, and a few but in other non.com TLDs I only buy really good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Just as an aside, I think we'll create a bloopers reel after this, Ammar,
right,
of the outtakes and the technology glitches that we have going on. All right. So 2,000 domain names. What are your favorites? If you had to give up all but, say, 3 of your favorite domain names, not including the Thought Convergence businesses.
Well, I mean, some of the names that I'm generally the domain buyer for all the stuff we buy. So, I mean, we have some crazy names. We have like beer.com, trainer.com. One of the ones I really like that I recently picked up is contactus.com.
Oh,
I mean, every domain name in the world, every website in the world has a contact us link. So we have some great ideas for that. And let's see, like I said, in the non.coms, one of my favorite names that I own is autos.net because I'm a huge car buff. So I have some big plans for that name if I ever get around to them.
Yeah. Well, those are all great ones. ContactUs.com. Boy, my entrepreneurial juices just got going on that. Like, it could be a woofoo.com type business. It, could be a plugin for WordPress. That's a phenomenal opportunity there.
Yeah.
Was that a recent purchase, or have you had that for a while?
That's in the last 6 months.
Did you buy that through auction or a private buyer?
Through a private buyer.
Yeah. Are you willing to say how much you purchased it for?
We can't say, I can't say that, but I mean, it was not, it was a good deal because that name has amazing opportunity potential.
Definitely. 4 figures or 5 figures?
No, definitely 5 figures.
Yeah.
Not 6 figures.
All right. Well, fantastic domain names. And so you've got a bunch of domain names, and then you've got your businesses. If you go to thoughtconvergence.com, I can see a bunch of businesses listed there. How many businesses make up the Thought Convergence umbrella, fall under that legal entity?
Sure. Well, primarily the 3 main businesses are Traffic Z, Aftermarket, and Domain Tools. Those are the 3 main businesses under Thought Convergence. And then we have other divisions, some of which are legal entities, some aren't. But, we have leasethis.com, which, as I told you, we're going to be folding into Aftermarket. Idea.net, which is our development arm. And then we're building out, some other sites. So, but those are the 3 main ones are Traffic Z, Aftermarket, and Domain Tools.
Okay. And so if you look at those main 3 businesses, they have a number of employees and contractors working for them?
Yeah, we don't outsource anything. So we do everything in-house. So in LA, we have, I don't know exactly, I lose count, but somewhere around 35, I think, in LA. And then in Seattle, I think in the Seattle office, we have about 20.
Great.
In that neighborhood.
About 55 full-time employees working on Traffic Z, Aftermarket, and Domain Tools.
Right. And then we have a small team in Luxembourg that that works on some Domain Tool stuff, but that's about it.
Great. And so of those businesses, are you what's the overall revenue for the company?
Well, I can't give you exact numbers. I can tell you it's in the 8-figure range.
8 figures.
Yeah, we're not quite. We're not at 9 yet. We'll get there.
That's your next goal.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So what we want to do is give entrepreneurs who are in the domain name space or thinking about the domain name space, or even just tech entrepreneurs who want to use domain names as a way to grow their business. We want to give them some inspiration because you haven't been in the domain name space your entire career. You actually started your career in a completely different industry. Right.
So I was an attorney. I went to law school. Went to UCLA undergrad and Loyola for law, and but I knew even when I went into law school that I wasn't going to be an attorney. I've just always been an entrepreneur, and so I got into it. I was doing business law and corporate law, and then helping out a friend. Back then, I would do anything I could to help out friends and kind of get little pieces of their businesses. And so one of my buddies had a domain business, and he said, come help me do the business side of things, help me with the contracts, help me with the negotiations. And that was my first exposure to domain names. And and then through him, he introduced me to a guy who was one of the earlier big domainers. Back then, he had, I think, about 40,000 domains, which was a lot, back then. And that was when I started handling all his legal stuff.
All right, so let me pause the story for a moment there, Ammar. So your partner's name in that first business was what?
Oh, no, that wasn't, that was Marty, my friend Marty, who lives in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
He was my first friend, actually, when I moved to the States. So I've known him since 4th grade.
Oh, okay. So he's a good friend of yours, and he said, Ammar, I need some help. Can you come in and help me out?
Yep.
And so do you recommend that if there are domain investors out there that want to buy domain portfolios, put it under a legal entity to prevent their private assets from being intermingled with their business assets. Is that a good idea today to approach a lawyer friend and do some sort of deal, would you say?
Sure, I would say, I mean, it depends on what scale, right? If you just have 10 or 20 domains and you're just starting out and you're dabbling and none of them are, hugely valuable yet, then
Yeah.
you don't need that entity because it's going to have a carrying cost every year. And but when you're getting serious about it, I definitely recommend that. Because
Like serious, like you're doing development, you're putting good money into the business, you want to make it an ongoing operating business.
Right, absolutely. Once you start building up asset value in there, I think it's important to protect it because domains are increasing in value all the time, especially if you're doing a good job of developing your property, then you're building up value in it. And so that's the best way to protect it. And I also think it gives you more credibility when you're out there talking to other people. And especially if you're going to raise money at some point, you got to have that kind of entity in place, that kind of structure.
Okay, so your friend Marty contacted you. You formed this relationship. You started doing his legal, the business side of his business, doing the legal work, things like that. And he introduced you to a major domainer that had 35,000 domains.
Yeah, 30, 40,000 names.
Okay.
That needed some legal help. And so I kind of started, and that's when I really started learning about the business of domaining, because Marty wasn't a domainer, he just had domains.
Right.
This gentleman was a domainer, and I started learning about the business of domaining, and I started seeing how he was taking these domains that he had bought for, $35 a year, and he was flipping them for 20 grand. And we were doing this all day long, and I was just amazed.
So when you say you were doing this all day long, so what year was this roughly?
This would have been probably 99.
Okay, so the late 90s, right before the dot-com crash, he owned a bunch of domains, 40,000, and he was using you to do what kind of transactions mainly?
So I would handle the negotiation. All his inquiries that would come in, I would handle those.
Okay.
When we sold a name, I would handle the escrow through my trust account. I would help him negotiate monetization deals, things like that. So it was just kind of like handling all the business and legal side for him. He didn't like to really interact with a lot of people. So we'll see.
I think a lot of us feel that way.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to have to deal with the inquiries that came in the negotiations, and you loved doing that. And then once the negotiations were finalized, you would then move it through paperwork and escrow and then completing the transaction. And what kind of domains did he typically have that you were dealing with?
So the ones that most of the deals we did were just for four-letter.coms. They were, just acronyms for businesses, and I was just amazed. I mean, it was 5 to 25,000, and they were just regularly rolling in, and just four-letter.coms that didn't mean anything.
Yeah, back in '99, 5 to 20,000.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, there were a few generics in there that we did, but the volume came on these four letters.
Yeah, great. And so you worked with him for how long, would you say?
I mean, he was just a client, so I would say he was a client for a few years. And
so that really opened your eyes to the value of domain names, to generic domain names, and to acronyms.
Right. And then he kind of taught me, and he had no problem sharing knowledge with me. And so I started buying some four-letter domains. He said, if you can get any four letters, just start registering them.
So what happened? Did you?
Yeah, not a whole bunch, but remember, like I said, I was paying off loans, so I didn't have a lot of disposable income. What I wish I would have done is just maxed out my credit cards, like some of the other people did, and taken that chance. But I already had a lot of credit card debt too coming out of school.
Yeah, and I think you've done okay for yourself so far, Ammar. And you're not recommending that people go max out their credit cards and buy domain names now. No. But if you had the opportunity to buy them on the drop, you would have bought as many as you could for the $35 at the time or the $10 at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do recommend. I'm definitely a risk taker, and so I do think sometimes if they're calculated risks, you got to take them. If you always play it safe, I think you're limiting your upside.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to take risks and just make sure you know the repercussions, that you know the risks, and you know the rewards.
All right. We're going to come back to that because I want to ask you what kind of risks you've taken recently.